You ready? Okay. Our review of the game from Baylor was kind of what we thought, really close. Defense was opportunistic, forced turnovers, and ran to the ball really well. Came up with some key stops. Offensively, we played well. We were able to run the football, throw it when we need to, convert third downs. Special teams, coverage units were good. So overall, as a team, it was a good game for us. We got another challenge this week, as everybody knows, playing a very good football team. It's sound in all three phases and very good on defense and slowed everybody down. Very good in the kicking game. And offensively, they're going to run the football. They're going to run it every way possible and try to keep the other team's offense off the field. I don't think it's any secret. We're far enough along in the season now. We kind of know where we're at. So our players just need to continue to practice well, and I'm pleased with where we're at, obviously. And as long as our attitude and demeanor and things stay the way that they should, and we practice well, then we'll look forward to the game on Saturday.
Can you just talk a little bit about how unusual it's going to be to see a team that huddles on offense? The other thing will be the first time you guys see it this year.
Texas. We saw it at Texas, yeah. So it's unusual. The game moves along a little bit slower. Gives defense more of an opportunity to make their calls. But, you deal with it. You play a day, you play at night. Teams huddle, don't huddle. So you just deal with whatever is presented to you and get them ready to go.
108 points off takeaways is impressive.
Yeah, our team has been, opportunistic is the word I used earlier about takeaways and forcing turnovers, and then our offense has done a nice job of taking advantage of it. Winning the turnover margin in each game is obviously important. I think that's the one area that's consistent across the country, and so fortunately for us, we've been able to take advantage of that some, and hopefully it'll continue the next few games.
Are you to the point where you feel like you can expect to get 3 or 4 turnovers a game and you can count on that, or?
I don't know if you can ever count on it. I feel like we're going to get turnovers. Our guys have made a believer out of me. But we would never expect it based on our approach to the game. It wouldn't change anyway. And I would guess at some time maybe it could run out. Maybe that won't happen. But if it does, then the offense needs to be more efficient and take advantage of the opportunities they do have.
You've typically had some short fields to deal with, but against Baylor you had a couple of 99-yard drives that were impressive.
You guys did a nice job coming off the goal line and changing momentum. We mentioned in the post game that there's a big swing of momentum when you go for a fourth down and you don't get it. And then if we're able to score off that, much less 99 yards, really got the crowd into the game. I thought our crowd was a huge factor after those plays. And, that's why you don't see many teams go for fourth downs, even though I would bet that against our defense, against our team, the way people see us, we've probably gone up against double the fourth downs that other teams in this league have. That would be my guess. Not for sure, but there's been a bunch of them.
Mike, can you talk about how sweet it is to get Kai Staley in the end zone, a guy that does the dirty work, that loves the game so much that he's come back from a gruesome injury? How nice was it to see him celebrating after getting in the end zone for the first time?
Everything Kai does is just kind of a reminder of how special college football is, and seeing young men overcome obstacles. And Kai had a really difficult situation. We all know that. And he's worked his way back, and I'm sure there's some people that think that he shouldn't be out there. But he's made that decision. We've supported him 100%, and he makes plays for us. He's a big part of the football team. When you have success as a team, you have to have chemistry, and you have good players and guys that make a lot of plays, and then you have tough guys that make plays, and then you have guys that are role players. And Kai has accepted what his role is, and it's part of being on a good football team. And so we're thrilled that he's decided to make that choice to come back, and he's having success.
Mike, Kevin Clintworth just commented that Jim Thorpe announced their semifinalists, and Markel Martin was on there, and I think that was kind of expected. I saw a couple other guys here at the game. They said Markel was definitely going to be on it. They were looking at Broderick. He wasn't a sure thing. He recovered 2 fumbles on Saturday. He's on it too. Talk a little bit about Broderick. I mean, he's 5'8", and he's playing 6'2".
He's another example of when you have good football teams, you have to have a mixture of different style of players. And Broderick's a guy that showed up when Parrish Cox missed curfew at the Cotton Bowl. Nobody really knew who he was. He had a broken arm for the entire season, practiced 5 days, became a starter in the Cotton Bowl, and played better than anybody in our secondary that day. And since then, his leadership both on and off the field, his attitude, he's beat up a lot. He's a little guy, so sometimes he'll miss a Tuesday's practice, and he'll come back, and he plays hard, and he's very opportunistic. That's kind of my word of the day. But he's in the right place at the right time. The balls that get tipped end up in his hands. He's in the right place when the ball's on the ground. He picks it up. But he's very athletic and he's very savvy. And that's why he's able to touch the football so much as a defensive player.
Mike, Josh Cooper wasn't able to finish the game, and of course Hubert's out for the season. What was your assessment of how Josh Stewart and Mike Harrison and Isaiah Anderson played on Saturday?
They played good. They were able to execute the plays that we thought gave us the best chance to move the ball and score points. But more importantly, they played with a lot of effort. Michael's playing hard. Josh Stewart plays hard all the time. Josh makes some mistakes because he's a freshman, but he plays hard without the football. And Isaiah's continued to get better each year. Fortunately for us, we've got a few guys there that can make plays when we do have a guy that can't compete for us. But we were pleased with their effort.
Are you playing more aggressive? Do you notice a more aggressive nature on your defense now, or is it just because of creating a lot of turnovers maybe?
I think we're active, John. I think they run sideline to sideline. I think they're up the field. I think there's more players that are in the area of the football in the run game. There's more players around the quarterback when he throws it, and there's more guys that are running to it when the ball's in the secondary, and that's why it looks that way. I don't think that our play calling scheme is any more aggressive than it has been.
Mike, you kind of share your thoughts and memories of Dahlberg Senior and the time you guys were able to spend here together.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with the news yesterday. He always had a great sense of humor and a smile on his face, was very respectful to the players. And even through the years when I heard him on the radio, I thought he did a great job of never trying to tear anybody down. I mean, he was good at what he did. He didn't have to be controversial. You know, he could just call the game and be pleasant, and people enjoyed him. And a true sports legend. I mentioned that in a release yesterday on Twitter and through our media department, that a real sports legend in the state, and will be missed. You know, I'd visited with Junior several times and asked him how his dad was doing, and good and all that. So, our deepest thoughts go out to their family.
Do you find it sort of ironic that you guys in Alabama are the only two teams that have 2 players on the North list, or with Markel and Brown, but everybody rags on defense?
Well, I wouldn't have known that unless you told me. And I only knew about the 2 guys making the Thorpe because it popped up on my computer screen. I don't have an answer for somebody else's opinion on our players. I'm not sure where they come up with that, to be honest with you, but I like our defense. I like our players' attitudes. I like how they compete. I think they play physical football. They're not perfect. Would I like them to get more 3 and outs? Sure. Would I like them to not give up as many total yards? Sure. But the end result up to this point for them has been something I'm pleased with. And more importantly, they rally together, they play with a good attitude, they play with a lot of excitement, and they have great body language. And I think that contributes to the overall success of our team.
It sounds like one of the things you talk to the kids about a lot about is no regrets. Is that something that you've been talking to over the course of the season, that play out there without, in a way that you won't have regrets about how you played?
Well, that's kind of been our philosophy for a number of years. In February or January, when we started again after the bowl game, because there was so much talk about where we would be preseason, our coaching staff decided we might as well admit to them that they were going to be ranked high, and to take that challenge and not have any regrets. Oklahoma State's not going to win every football game they play for my tenure here as the head coach. I wish I could say we would, but it's not going to happen. There'll be teams lose games. If you lose a football game and somebody beats you, that's okay. But if you lose a football game because you didn't prepare well and you didn't play hard, that's not okay. And so we talked to them about having no regrets. During a Sunday through Thursday opportunity for practice, if they're taken away from themselves by not giving us effort and not preparing in film study and meetings and trying to get better, that's their fault. And then on Saturday, if they don't play with good effort and great effort, that's their fault. And the same works for the coaches. On Sunday through Thursday, if we don't prepare and we don't give them a chance to have success, that's our fault. And if we don't make the right decisions on Saturday for the most part and be aggressive as play callers, then that's our fault. And that falls into the regret category. So we want our team to play aggressive. We don't want to play under pressure, and we don't want to have any regrets when the game's over.
Coach, why do you expect Justin Blackman to go pro after the season?
He's going to get a lot of money. I mean, I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I just think they're going to give him a whole lot of money, I just don't know how he can turn it down. And this came up yesterday in our teleconference. When you have a player that's somewhat guaranteed to be a top 7 pick, I went from 5 to 7 because somebody told me they think he may go 7th. So, and then if he were to come into my office and ask for my recommendation, I don't know that he would or not, I would recommend that he go if he likes to play football. He's far enough along academically that he could come back and get his degree, but the opportunity that's in front of him, and I'll be off a little bit in my numbers, but there's a breakdown on what those guys make. And I think it's 38 to 44 million or something. So kind of speaks for itself.
Mike, can you compare his work ethic with some of the other good wide receivers you had? I mean, obviously, Rashawn.
He's the best practice player we've had. He's really good. He was impressive halfway through his freshman year, which he redshirted, and then the last 2 years, he has really good work habits and practice as well, and that all falls back in his pride and his competitiveness. Guys that practice good is important to him, and he likes to play the game, and he likes challenges, and so because he's a good practice player and because he's been one of the best practice players we've had this year, he's helped our team get to the level we are now. Because your team is generally going to follow and react to the way the players are that get the most attention. And he's been very good for us.
You mentioned you weren't sure if he'd come ask your opinion or not. How do you handle that as a program, that whole situation? Should somebody go pro, should they not?
Well, if there's a player that's in that gray area, Russell Okun, Pettigrew, Brandon, Justin, I don't know if we've had any other ones since I've been the head coach, but I'll generally ask them to come in and sit down and talk to them, find out what they're thinking, just so I have an idea what direction they may be going. Then they spend time with our strength coach, Rob Glass. He has a thorough background in dealing with the NFL. He has a thorough background in experience of agents and those guys, and so he has a good feel for kind of how the NFL feels about a certain player. And so I'll get information and talk to him, and Coach Glass will spend some time and talk to him. And if we honestly think that a young man can help himself by coming back for whatever reason, and it could be a variety of reasons, which last year Brandon and Justin were what some people would call one-year guys. They had one big year in college. And what happens is, as the months roll on prior to the draft, the NFL chops them down. And they find things wrong with them, and they keep moving down. And so we felt like that those two needed to come back and do it again, and that would solidify what their future is. And that's kind of the reasoning that we take. But it starts with, what do they think first?
Hey, Mike, Doug Meacham is a guy who paid a lot of dues to get back to his alma mater. Can you tell that what's happening right now is really special and meaningful for him since he came from here?
You know, Doug's a very loyal Oklahoma State guy, and had a long road. You know, coaching college football below this level is not easy. It's like most people, you work a lot of hours, and there's a lot of pressure, and maybe not the financial opportunities that there are at this level. And stuck with it. And Doug and I had a good friendship when we were here in school, and I always had a lot of admiration for him because he had great work habits. He's a self-made guy. Nobody ever gave him anything. He left home to come up here and go to school, and he had to earn his way through here and go out there and coach it and do the same thing. And there's something to be said about people that get to a certain level without anybody giving them anything. And those are the kind of coaches that we're looking for. And, you know, he's been here now with me 7.5 years, however long it's been. And hopefully we can keep him here for a long time until he has an opportunity to move on and do something in his personal career that he feels like's important to him and his family.
And obviously you don't hire him because you played with him. You hire him because he's a good hand.
No question. I'm not interested in hiring anybody that I played with here in college unless I think they can help develop our players and do the right thing and be good coaches and father figures for our team. Just because they played here doesn't do anything. Now, if there's a young man or a player that did play here and he falls into or he meets that criteria, I would certainly look at him before I would anybody else.
Mike, Brandon said that away from practice and everything, when guys are hanging around together, he said, there's no talk at all about where you are in the BCS standings. They just don't do it. Is that suggested at all that they don't bother with it, or is that just something they kind of decided on their own?
Well, I don't think there's any question I've made that suggestion to them, but I make a lot of suggestions to them and they don't listen. So I think there's enough maturity, and I said this last week, that we're fortunate that Brandon's here because the question Robert asked about Justin's practice habits, the leadership ability of a 28-year-old is much different than a 21-year-old. And so he handles everything in such a calm demeanor, with a calm demeanor, and very mature. And so some of the other guys just kind of follow along. I'm sure we have 129 guys on our team now, and 70 of them travel with us each week. So I'm sure that there's a few of them that are talking about it. But the majority is stayed focused up to this point. And coaches say it. I know you've heard me say it. But at any point, if they lose that focus, then they certainly increase their chances of losing a game.
Piggybacking off that, have you noticed, has it become any more difficult to stay focused the further along the season goes?
Yeah, it's more difficult each week. I think anybody that says it's not is probably just giving you some kind of a coach's line. It's only human nature. As you progress through and you see where you're at, there's more attention drawn to your team. There's more attention drawn to players individually. You have national awards for individual players that are out there. And my honest opinion is, if anybody says that there's not more pressure put on them as the season progresses, I'd like to know how they avoid it.
Do you feel as if on Randall's big touchdown run, there was a huge block by Blackman downfield, and do you feel as if that the receivers blocking downfield and the running backs being able to read that block, do you feel like that's an underrated part of this offense's success?
We have a lot of we talk a lot about the other 10 guys on offense are so important to the success. We've got several guys that can make a play with the ball in their hands, but the other 10 guys have to play unselfish. and you have to be willing to make it happen for the guy that has the ball in his hands. And a great example of where we're at as a football team is you have the Blentnikoff winner, and you can go back and look at the tape, and he's on the ground cut blocking and fighting every play. He's not standing around watching the game. So the other guys do the same thing. And you can watch our offensive linemen. They're downfield cut blocking, and they're giving effort also. And so in order for a good offense to be a great offense, the other 10 guys have to find a way to make plays if they don't have the ball.
Do you feel like Kansas State comes into this game with extra motivation after what happened last week?
You never know how that works. Coach Snyder has been around a long time and understands, and I'm sure he has a great way of motivating his players, and so I wouldn't expect them to come in here anything less than ready to play.
Talk, maybe I missed it already, about Joseph Randall and what's making him so successful this season.
Well, Joseph's got some ability. He's a smart football player. He's tough. He competes. He likes to play the game. He's versatile. We've split Joseph out at receiver, and he catches passes not just in the flat. He catches passes 12, 15 yards downfield that are thrown pretty hard. So when you tie all that together with his versatility and his willingness to compete, he's a pretty good football player.
Mike, any thoughts on West Virginia being welcomed into the league at all?
Well, I'm for whatever keeps the league going. West Virginia's got a tradition in football, and so I hadn't really paid much attention to it, but it keeps the strength in the league, and if it keeps the television networks infatuated with our league, which obviously generates more money, which I think ultimately is the bottom line, then I'm for it. Because I don't think there's anybody, or I think everybody understands how I feel about the Big 12. So if that's what we have to do to keep it rolling, then I'm all for it.
Coach, what do you think's been the difference in Jamie Black? I mean, kind of being a role player to now exploding, kind of catching his stride and basically taking over the game at the front.
Well, he's had a lot of snaps. He's an experienced player. He's now become a 500-pound bencher. He's strong. He understands the importance of hydration and sleep and nutrition and all those things that factor in on Saturday. Sometimes players change after the first year or two here, and you see those results as they get into the latter part of their career, and that's what's happening with Jamie.
Coach, do you notice a change in your defense's mentality when they get in the red zone and when they have to get the turnovers? It seems like they're clamping down at the most opportune moments for you.
That question's come up. I don't have an answer for that. They've made plays and taken advantage of opportunities, and they've been pretty good on short yardage and goal line and fourth downs. I just hope it continues this week.
Kind of along those same lines, you had mentioned that seems like there's been more fourth down opponents have been going for this season. Is that a reflection, maybe a perception that the defense won't be able to stop that, or is that maybe a reflection of your offense knowing that you guys are going to put up a lot of points, and they're going to have to match it?
Well, you would have to ask the other coaches, but I would guess that they play percentages based on opportunities our offense has to score, and if you have X number of opportunities, then percentage is going to tell you then chance that many points could be scored. So something's got to give. Either you got to score that many points to make up for it, or you got to lessen those opportunities.
With it being Halloween, you're going to be in costume, working on your game plan tonight?
I will be mentoring two little ones with a hat and a hood in disguise, and pretending to be a dad and not be a coach. A lot of times I pretend to be a coach. So.
What was your go-to costume growing up? Were you a big trick-or-treater?
Oh, I loved. Oh, yeah. I trick-or-treated up till I was about 25. But I don't remember what that go-to costume was. But I know that it's a great time, and I would expect our coaches who are dads to be out tonight with our kids, and we can get caught up on get plays and those things tomorrow. Good. All right.
Texas State kickoff time will be either morning, afternoon, or evening.